ॐ समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविडं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव त्वमेव सर्वं गुरुदेवदेव. Difference between sadhana, japa, tapas and samadhi. Some of it we are going to discuss. So all come under sadhana. Japa, tapas, samadhi, all come under sadhana. And depending upon the maturity of the individual, one can give a name for it. You have the paper, you can give me that. Oh, he's right. Okay. It goes into the bottom. Japa, we're going to talk a little bit of meditation, we're going to talk. So someone said, his meditation involves removing all the thoughts. Because some people talk, there are different types of explanations and meditations and all that. If you go to YouTube and or Google, you will find all sorts of meditations. And someone in fact asked me about Sahaja Samadhi. Trying to become thoughtless state itself becomes a problem. And if thoughtless state alone involves realization, I cannot have thoughts anymore after that. Then I'll be in trouble if thought comes. The problem is, even to get thoughtless state, I get worried because it's difficult to make the mind thoughtless. Mind nature is to think. So meditation is not a thoughtless state, because I do that every day. When I go to deep sleep state, I have no thoughts. If I have thought, that means I have not slept. So thoughtless state is not a state of realization. If I am conscious of the thoughtless state, itself is not realization also, unless I understand that I am, whether thoughts are there or not, because I am never changing, eternal, so I should be there with the thoughts also. If thoughts can disturb me, then anything can disturb me. Then I should be always silent and keep it in I can continue deep sleep state all the time. So trying to understanding is thoughtless state is not that, and trying to reach thoughtless state is another problem, because it's becoming unnatural. It's like asking, I want to see the light without any objects. It's the same thing. I said there is a light without objects, but I cannot recognize the presence of the object, presence of the light without the object. You should realize that. That's why I gave you an example of a hand and all that. So I need a thought. We will go into the last talk about what thought I need later. But japa is, I don't want all thoughts, because I am like a monkey going from one thought to other thought. The monkey jumps from one branch to other branch. Whereas I want to shift my attention from the thought to that because of which I can see the thought. To shift my attention from the hand to see that because of which hand is seen. Right? I need the hand. Same way I need a thought, but that because of which thought is being illumined. That's why in the Kenopanishad it says, Pratibodha viditam matam. Statement is, it is revealed in every thought. It is revealed in every object. Light is revealed in every object, because the object cannot be seen without the light. So it's there. But my attention is not on the light, but attention is on the object that is reflecting. Right? When I am seeing object, I am looking at the objects, but not the light that is reflecting. Same way, my attention is in the contents of the thought, rather than because of which I am seeing the thought or knowing the thought. So if I can shift the attention from the thought to that because of which I can see the thought or know the thought, then I am in the meditation. So, but if the thoughts are too many and too continuously changing, then it's difficult for me to shift my attention from the contents of the thought to that because of which I can see the thought. So, japa is rechanneling the mind so that I don't have too many thoughts. I have a single thought repeating again and again and again. And that thought can be anything in principle. A repetition thought, so that I am not jumping from one thought to other thought. So I am sitting in there, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayana. Suddenly Narayan Rao comes into picture. Oh, Narayan Rao owes me $100, he never gave me, blah blah blah. He goes. He's in California now. California, there is a lot of agitation going on with the Trump and non-Trump, although. What happened to Narayana? Gone. So instead of that, I want to rechannel the mind only fixed thought. So any thought I can do it in principle. Om Gaga Bubu, I can do. But suddenly comes, what is Gaga Bubu? Mind will will ask the question. So I provide a meaning to the thought centered on the Lord rather than on some other people. Otherwise my mind may disturb. So on the Lord, so I take the name of the Lord as my part of japa, so that I have a fixed field for the mind to concentrate. And being the same thought, I have to repeat it. So Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. So I am repeating the same thought, and I am paying attention now slowly from the japa, from the contents, to that because of which even the Narayana is getting revealed. And I am there in the thought, I am there between the thought, because I have to stop I cannot continue Om Narayana, I have to say Om Narayanaya, Om Narayana. So I have the same thought, I have to repeat it, so there is a gap between the two. And in between the gap, there are no thoughts. But I am observing that also. But that's also an object of my observation. It's also an object of observation. Even silence is also an object of observation. But I am conscious where the contents of the silence are not there for me to get lost. You follow the logic of it? So I am there with the thought, I am there without the thought, I am there with the thought. So there is a beautiful sloka in the Sri Krishna Karunamritam, Leela Shakadu. Anganam antare madhavam. That's all it says. So Rasa Leela is going on, So Anganam Antare Madhavam. So between Angana means Gopi and another Gopi, Antare in between is Lord Krishna is there. That's a Rasa Leela going on. So he is watching Rasa Leela. So Anganam Antare Madhavam. Then immediately in the next line, Madhavam Antare Angana. So between Krishna and Krishna there is a Gopi. So in the other side also between Krishna there is a Gopi also. But attention is shifted from the Angana to Madhava. So first one is Anganam Antare Madhava. So Madhava is pure consciousness, Angana is a thought. So between thought and a thought, there is a consciousness alone without a thought. As I am doing japa, my attention is shifting from the thought to Madhava. Madhavam Antare Angana. So of course in the end, Ittama Madhavam says, in the end, only Krishna alone is there, all the girls are dancing around. So millions of thoughts going around, but my attention is only on the Lord Krishna that is illuminating everything else. So that is japa. In short, tapas. Tapas is, people who stand on one leg. Tapas is concentrating the mind on single pointedness. That's the real tapas. So we are all tapas. When we are concentrating on things, you are concentrating on this without exclusion of everything else. If that what I concentrate is something higher, the nature, then that is towards the spiritual growth. If the tapas is I want this, I want that, like Rakshasas are also doing tapas also, right? In all our Puranas, every Rakshasa wants something. So he is also doing tapas with the concentration, and the result will come. If you study anything on that, in that result has to come. That's a law. Oh, why did Shiva give all that? Shiva cannot but give. Even though it may, one fellow want to give, even burn Shiva also. He was chasing Shiva. You know all that, right? Stories. But why did he give? He has to give because that's a part of the tapas. So tapas is a concentrated effort where my mind, intellect, buddhi are all in that. And if it is towards a higher, then it becomes a spiritual discipline. And samadhi, we'll discuss that samadhi a little bit as we go along. There's a lot of misconceptions also, nirvikalpa samadhi aren't there. Wow. What we need to do to not to fall on sleep as soon as I close my eyes for meditation. What we need to do to not to fall in sleep as soon as I close my eyes for meditation. This is a common problem. Sleep comes because mind is quiet, and whenever it is quiet, it's very good to sleep. So sleep is one of the obstacles recognized by scriptures. So what to do? Take good rest first, good sleep, so that you don't sleep during meditation. And the best time is when you are completely slept and relaxed, the mind is calm and quiet, first thing in the morning after taking bath, when the mind is not agitated with the day-to-day actions. That's the time recommended for meditation. And you already slept, so you don't sleep that easily at that time. When you are tired, you sleep. When you are tired. So don't try to meditate. When you can do one thing, you can go to sleep by meditation, but don't sleep when meditation. So with the meditation of the thinking of the Lord, you can go to sleep. There is no problem there. But for thinking of the Lord, don't sleep in that. So in order to do that, have a good rest, and don't sit down for meditation after lunch or a heavy dinner. So try to avoid those that gives you sleep, but keep your awake. So initially when the mind wants to do that, listen to song, listen to the bhajan or something that takes your mind towards the higher. If you find a sleep, increase the volume where the mind stands, so that mind gets back. So meditation is not necessarily closing your eyes. That's what I'm trying to get. That's one kind of meditation, but we are looking at Vedantic meditation where conception or teaching, learning and contemplating in the direction. That is also tapas of the nature of the reality, and I am that's my nature is also tapas, is also meditation. And there you can think in that direction without sleeping. But that's one of the common problems recognized, and therefore the only way to avoid is do when the mind is fresh. And when it is too tired, don't sit at that time for meditation. But if you don't have any time you have to do, then do something. So mind gets used to. So I cannot get up, I had to run, morning is rush, you know. Then rush only, what can you do? But find a time convenient, at least 1 hour for Lord, where you drop like chappals outside, you drop all your relationships and entering into the sanctum sanctorum, where, oh Lord, I am and you, only two, until I dissolve or you dissolve. That's one of the two. So that's, Lord will appreciate. There is a sloka in Saddarshanam, Ramana Maharshi's. Mrutyunjayam mrutyubhyasritanam aham matir mrutyumupaiva nityam. I don't remember now. This is a the Markandeya story where, familiar, he wants to go on Lord Shiva's 16th birthday, and so 16th day he is going to die or something. So a devotee comes to Lord, says, what should I do? Go to Mrutyunjaya, one who is conquered, Lord Shiva, approach him. So he wants to save himself from the death. This is a statement. But Ramana Maharshi says, Mrutyunjayam mrutyubhyasritanam aham matir mrutyumupaiva. Instead of saving protect him from the god of death, he finished the devotee himself. That's a statement. A devotee comes and says, oh Lord, please help me from the death. He says, I'm going to remove you first. Before the Lord comes, I'm going to remove you. So what kind of that? He says, essentially, I am a devotee and this is a deity. That devotee itself is gone because there is no more devotee. He becomes a part of the deity itself. That's what the meaning of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi is. Anyway, so that's what either you become with the Lord alone is, or I alone. I'm going to talk about that anyway here. Is the world a projection of our notions and perversions, that is vasanas, onto the self? If so, then are we not the creators of this so-called world, universe and life? Wow. Yes or no? There is in the Vedanta philosophy, they call Ekajivavada, Anekajivavadas and all that. I don't want to get confused with all the statements. There's a big discussion that's also going on in Advaita list also. No, world is not projection of my own individual self. Individual self being this body, mind, intellect. Ahankara, jiva. Because I don't create the world, I don't create a chair and see the chair. So that's called Vijnanavada. That's called, comes from the Buddhism part of it, where mind projects it and sees. But here there is an Ishvara Srishti different from a Jiva Srishti. Ishvara, I gave the Mundaka Upanishad statements in the Mundaka Upanishad. There the Ishvara says he is a Sarvajnaha, Sarvavitu. I have some slokas on there. So in the Mundaka Upanishad, it defines Ishvara. One of the best definitions of Ishvara is given in the Mundaka Upanishad. I don't know if I have. So anyway, I don't want to. So in there, he uses two words important. One is Sarvajnaha and Sarvavitu. This is a Paravidya, Aparavidya discussions are there in the Mundaka Upanishad. And these words are used. Sarvajnaha and Sarvavit means same, knowing everything. But Shankaracharya explains it. Sarvajnaha means he is the knower of the absolute. That means he is a paravidya. So he knows the absolute truth also. And also sarvavit. Sarvavit means he knows everything, means he is also the knower of aparavidya. So he differentiates the two of the Ishvara. I don't want to confuse you with the paravidya, all other top terminologies. One is knowing absolute truth, another is knowing the whole world, because he is the creator of the whole universe, right? He has to know in order to create it. That's called sarvavit. And so a creator has to have the sarvajñatvam and sarvavitvam in order to create. If I have that, then if I know that I am that, then I have problem is solved. Until the problem is solved, I am only a local jiva. I think I am only local jiva, therefore I want to realize. So the simple explanation is, it's not ekajiva vada, in summary. If you want more, I can talk later, but not today. You mentioned that the waker has the ability to wake up to reality, but not the ability to interact with the dream state. So who wakes up the dreamer? So when the tiger was chasing me, and I was running and running, suddenly I fell down. And that shook me, and God, I woke me up and found out I am fell down from my bed. So a roaring of a tiger in my dream can wake me up. That can perturb me. So a roaring of Vedanta can wake me up to the higher state of consciousness. So something that can trigger you to just as in the waking state. Why am I interested in this? In the Vedanta. Why? There are thousands of people. So, but very few, manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatasi siddhaye. Thousands of people, but very few people are really interested. And those who are interested, very people even try on that further. But ascharyavat paschati kaschidena, ascharyavat vadati kadaiva chanyah. It's a wonder of all wonders. And Krishna says, unfortunately, even talking about is wonder, listening about it wonder, but after listening, not doing, people also don't do. That's also another wonder. That's his problem. Can you please explain Moola Vidya concept again? Thanks. Wow. I think the Moola Vidya, we have to have another camp for that, right? Moola Vidya means fundamental ignorance. That means I don't know myself. The other avidya called Tula Avidya means I don't know chemistry, right? So I don't know chemistry, I don't know physics, I don't know biology. In all that, the very funny thing is, if I try to know chemistry or anything, the more I know, the more ignorant I am going to become there. That's a problem of any objective knowledge. Because the more I know, the more I discover there are a lot more things to know. Before that I didn't know even chemistry. Now I know, okay, this water, H2O, this 2O, that's so. But the more I try to investigate, the more things I need to know more and more. That's why every scientific paper, I am also a scientist, I write papers. But every scientific paper, we want money to solve the problem. But at the end of the problem, we say there are a lot more problems to be solved, which we didn't know before. I want more money. If I say I have solved every problem, I will be unemployed tomorrow. So that is true with every objective science. The more you investigate, you become a super specialist of smaller entity. And it's called, in the mathematics, called delta function. It means it's like a line where the area is zero, more or less. Whereas the Vedantic student in the Mundaka Upanishad, student asks, says, Kashminna bhagavo vijñāte sarvamidam vijñātam bhavati. Oh Lord, teach me that knowledge, knowing which I will know everything. It's a very daring declaration asking. And he teaches, yes, you are right, we will teach you. How we teach that? So Moola Vidya is not knowing your own self. Other one is not knowing the objective, that's not even Vidya. Because ignorance is growing. But this is a fundamental ignorance where if I know it, see? Oh. Now you really know. Okay. He's coming. So if you really if you really know it, then that means you have solved all the problems. There is nothing more to know. Yajñātvā nāparanyēyam, knowing which there is nothing else to know. That's what the scripture statement. Because I know everything in essence. The other things are detail. I don't need to know what is this ring shape, that ring shape. I know whole gold. It's nothing but gold. Yeah, just put it in the bank. Because gold is very costly nowadays. So, so that's called Mula Vijja. Dear Sadaji, Hari Om. If the Jagat is created due to demand, why did the demand take place? When did the demand? Why did the demand take place? In the first place, because of the Mula Vijja, because of this previous question. Because I do not know who I am taking myself what I am not as I am. Right? That's a problem. So I am taking this as I am. But this is limited space-wise, time-wise, object-wise. So I don't like it. Because intrinsically I am infinite. And taking finite and suffering is not my problem. So I want to make it infinite. This has to become infinity. That's what I told. So I want gather this, gather that. So in the process I am developing the likes and dislikes. I like this, I don't like this. And all the things we just now had dinner. Oh, I don't like this, I like this. We have already likes and dislikes. That has nothing to do with the property. It is just the same. Some people like it, some people don't like it, right? So it's nothing to do with it, because my likes and dislikes are superimposed. And the more I cater to my own likes and dislikes, the more I develop the vasanas, and that's how vasanas started. And my vasanas, I gravitate to the worlds where my vasanas can be satisfied. So I go from this square to go some other place, because that's where my vasanas will be satisfied. You go to some other place, that's where your vasanas are satisfied. So the world that I create depends upon my vasanas, the world you create depends upon your vasanas, and the total world depends upon the total vasana of all people together is the result of this world. So Ishvara takes the total vasana of all beings together, and that forms the Maya Shakti. That's what we are going to talk a little bit. That becomes a Maya Shakti as the tool for creation, and that's how the world creates. When did the vasana start? That depends upon when you don't know that you are this. When you don't know your own nature and you are taking this. When did I not know? From the beginning. I didn't know I am Brahman. So creation is also almost from the beginning. Only scripture says what was there before creation. Sadeva Saumya Idamagram Asid. Before the creation, this what was there is. So before, after, they are using only for teaching's sake, because this is a beginningless. So beginningless cannot have when. We cannot talk about beginningless when. It's like a wheel. So when it's a wheel, maybe my dance is too much. So when it's a wheel, there is no beginning for it. Continuously, but the cycle, therefore, this is a continuous cycle, and one can get out of it once I realize that that's all the. So demand took place from the beginning, when the Lord saw the vasanas and has to be created, and that was beginningless itself, because avidya is beginningless. Where is Viveka in terms of the waker, dreamer, deep sleep state? Why is it not accessible in dream state? So Viveka is nothing but intellect, discriminative intellect. Nature of the intellect is to differentiate. That's intellect. That's what scientist does, is called a sharp intellect. So sharp intellect is means to divide. So every scientist wants this classification, that classification, codification, all puts into phylums and all that. That's what scientist does. Classify things. This is different from that, that's different from that, and all that. So that is the intellectual the Viveka. But here Viveka we used in the Vedanta not as a sharp intellect, but as a subtle intellect. Difference between subtle and sharp is one who divides is a sharp, and the one who integrates is the subtle. One is an analytical mind is a sharp mind, a synthetic mind which sees not division but oneness that pervades everything. So it is trying to say what is that common that integrates both. And we say, oh, love integrates people. No, you have to love and love that. So love brings people together, right? Husband and wife, they love. I mean, they think together, act together as though one. If they think differently, then there is no love, right? That's a part of this problem. So even the people who hate others, like even Ku Klux Klan or whatever, why they love each other at least. Otherwise, they don't form a group. So to form a group, you have to love each other. So that Viveka is a subtle intellect that synthesizes, that sees the oneness that pervades everything. So every differences, every thought is different. But Viveka is to see oneness that pervades every thought. So I am conscious of this, I am conscious of that. So I know this, I know this, I know this. This is changing, but knowing principle is the same. That's why Pratibodha Viditam, it is revealed in every thought, in every knowledge, is essentially seeing that oneness that pervades. And that is Viveka, that's all. It's not there it's there in the waking state, because in the waking state, the mind is sharp and can be trained. The discipline can be there. There is a will to act in the dream, in the waking state. In the dream state, I do not have it, because if I have it, I don't go to sleep. That's a problem. Because intellect has to subside so that the projection can occur. So therefore, in the deep sleep state, you don't have it. In the deep sleep, in the dream state, all mind is folded. Everything is folded, and that's called Anandamaya Kosha. The Annamaya Kosha goes into the Pranamaya, Pranamaya goes into Vijnanamaya, Vijnanamaya goes into Anandamaya. Those who get Smriti articles, there is an article that I've been in today, this time is the last one, is called Who Slept Very Well. The 4th series are there. If you ask if the Sitaram Gar is there, you can ask him the details. But there we have analyzed the deep sleep state and how it differs from the other state. I won't go into too details, but it's Acharya Ji, you are telling see God in everywhere and everything. So why many of us see God only in the deity? We are walking towards Advaita. You are having a camp again in July. Are you having a camp like July 4th? Please, we need many like this. Thank you. Should contact the organizers for the second part. And question first. We are telling, see God in everywhere, everything. So why many of us look God only in it? So once you recognize the problem, don't be like many. So at least from your point, see God everywhere. And that's all counts. Because many are nothing but God's only. So God has a vibhuti. It's there, God's vibhuti to see everywhere else. But your duty is to see God in everything. So all the idea is, discipline is what am I doing, not what other people are doing. Other people are not doing, other people are not listening, other people are not behaving not properly. I am a Vedanta thing, they are not doing all that gada 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 gada. There are no other people even you go to deep sleep state. You are alone there. So from your point, what can I do for me to grow up? And in the second part of it, which we did cover completely in the Ishvara, is when I recognize the presence of the Lord in everything, part of it becomes the Vibhuti. Vibhuti means the glory of the Lord to be in varieties. Don't Every leaf differs from other leaf. Every tree differs. Every flower differs. Every insect differs. Every beauty of the creation. If everything is like a robot, then it's boring, right? So the variety is the beauty of creation itself. But for me to recognize and enjoy the beauty itself is a precious life. So people are the people, that is the nature of the people. That's beautiful. So people are behaving differently. Yes, that is the nature. That's a beauty. He is like a terrorist. Yes, that is his beauty. That's all he can express himself. My beauty is to stop him. Right? That's how it is. Oh, that's also drama. Life becomes a beautiful drama if you know how to play drama. And this is a drama, and then when you are on the stage and then you don't know how to play drama, then you will suffer the consequence. So whatever the roles are, that I cannot change their behavior. Remember, I can only change my behavior. So by my changing, they may follow me. That's their part of their glory. By me becoming an example for them. But I say, how can I change? I am not perfect. If I am perfect, then I can talk about it. So in Advaita, yes, Advaita is always there. Advaita means division. But Advaita means in spite of Dvaita. Advaita is not monoism. Advaita is not Dvaita. That means Dvaita is there, but the reality is not Dvaita. That's what Advaita means. So seeing oneness in spite of plurality is the glory there. Seeing one gold in spite of varieties of ornaments is my vision of a goldsmith vision. He doesn't think in terms of ring costly more or ring. He cares how much gold it is. That's all his cost is. Same way, how much godness is there. How much godness is depends on how much I can see the God in them. God is everywhere, but I have to see it. Right? All that are interrelated. So don't worry about other people. Concentrate on yourself, and that's all it counts. But don't try to evaluate anybody else. Everybody is following their own karma. If you can, by being an example, if you can change others, that's good. Otherwise, leave it to the Lord, because that's his problem, not your problem. So that way it's Hari Om. How can one find the right Guru? And should one wait for Guru to find them? How can I find the right Guru? By being right first. So there is no right Guru unless only you have a right disciple. And the right disciple is the one who can subject to discipline. And we have, you discover the Guru. You don't, no Guru will come say, I am your Guru. Then don't go to him. You discover he is my Guru because with his teaching I am evolving. That feeling has to come in you. Then you recognize your Guru. Someone went and Swamiji Gurudev and says, are you my Guru? He says, no. So no Guru will do. No realized person will say, I have realized. Don't go and ask, are you realized? Suppose I say yes. Some people have asked me also, have you realized? Suppose I say, now what are you going to do? Oh, I don't think so. Then why are you asking me? If it depends upon your thinking, then why ask me? So the question is only, am I realized? Because I had written one litmus test in there, but anyway, there is a litmus test in the Advaita, in the Chandogya Upanishad. I don't know if you want to know whether you are realized or not, that's the test that is given there. So in the test is one, in the security people brought one this is in the Chandogya in the 6th chapter, the Uddalaka teaches in the Tattvamasi statement. So in one example, how do you know that I realized? This is example. So he brought, security people brought somebody. Says, what's the problem? King was. So there was a theft and no one else, and the circumstantial evidence shows that he must have been a theft, and we asked him, he says, I didn't steal it. We don't know. So we brought him here. So king said, okay, did you steal? He said, no. So king ordered, bring red hot iron. So they brought red hot iron. Now you touch it with your bare hands. If your hands burn, that means you are telling a lie. If you are telling a lie, that means you say I am not a thief is wrong. That means you are a thief. That means therefore we will going to put you arrest. So not only your hands get burned, you will be further punished. But if you are telling the truth, then your hands will not burn. That means you are not a thief. And therefore we honor you, and whatever the trouble we give, we will compensate. So that was a test. This under self-realization. So if you want to know if you're self-realizing, all you have to do is take a red hot iron and touch it with your bare hands. If it burns, that means you are not realized. Because Shankara gives a beautiful explanation. It means when I touch the red hot world, if I don't get burned, that means I have realized. So the litmus test is only I am not ups and downs. Everything I see, the beautiful world coming in. Veiled transactions is still, remember, garbage is different, the food is different, yet in and through I see Ishvara everywhere. And I see his beautiful expressions in this way. Lord Krishna himself shows Virata Purusha. In that one side is Rakshasas. At the same time, he was killing left and right all the Rakshasas also. So that's the beauty. He's showing you once Vibhuti, once 10th chapter, and the 11th chapter immediately, don't think all good things only I am. Even bad things are also, because Arjuna was afraid also in the 11th chapter if you read. So everything becomes beautiful creation also. So right guru and left, what is right guru? One should wait for guru to find them. No. You have to grow yourself, as Swami used to say, open yourself. By how? Satsangatve, Nissangatvam, Nissangatve, Nirmohatvam, Nirmohatve, Nischalatatvam, Nischalatatve, Jivan Muktaha. By satsang. Attend any opportunity available for you to grow. Lord provides in so many ways. But it is you have to make an attempt. And in the process you are opening, as Gurudev says, when the flower opens, bee shall come. Flower doesn't have to go in search of a bee. When it's ready, bee will be there. But you have to recognize, in the case it's not just you are a flower inert, but you are where you have to take an opportunity, then you discover that he is the one who is helping me most and I am getting help from them. That's how you discover a guru. Once we meditate and get into bhakti and follow all rules, will the negative thoughts go away? How to avoid these negative thoughts? Negative thoughts will go away by not thinking negative things. So by thinking of the Lord, think of the Lord. Whenever negative thoughts comes, immediately switch to the positive thoughts. If you think negative, immediately positive about the good things, about the greatness of the Lord. Lord is expressing beautifully and all that. So by constant attending satsang, your mind starts thinking of the satsang only. Sat also means good. So the mind more dwells on the good things, mind will think of good things. Mind dwells on bad things, mind will think of only bad things. So whenever you go, so try to entertain more on the good things rather. Whenever the bad things comes, immediately switch to the Lord. See the presence of the Lord in everything, then that will be solved. I need to do what I am paid for in the best way I can. This comes effortlessly to some, more than others because of their talents and gifts. Even if some people try hard, the product result is not as good. Is this prarabdha, or should this be taken as prasad? I need to do what I am paid for in the best way I can, yes. And some effortlessly to some. If you are paid for to do that, unless the fellow who is paying is stupid for paying that which you cannot do, then there must be something wrong, right? Because you can only do and he is expecting something which you cannot do. There's a problem with the manager there. However, if you accepted that position, that you cannot do it because you don't have capacity, since you accepted knowing that you had to do it, then you have to acquire the skills in order to do it. It's as simple as that, right? It's a common sense. So if I don't know how to type and I am joining as a typist and I expected to type only, and so I don't know how to type, what should I do? So then learn typing. Because I am getting paid for typing, for typing only. So whatever the skill that I am paid for, then I have to get that skill either one way or the other by effort only. Then I have to make an effort. If I cannot make an effort, I cannot do, then say, I am not able to do this, give me another job that I can do. Because you are accepting a position that you cannot do. That's not right also. So you have to acquire by self-effort whatever the skills that are required. This is simple common sense, right? Is it prarabdha? It will become his prarabdha if you try to type which you cannot type. Prarabdha is due to actions of the past. You accepted the position, that part of your prarabdha, but when accepting that, you also have purushartha. So Swamiji Chimayananda, a beautiful example, beautiful analysis. What I have is prarabdha. What I do with what I have is purushartha. So I use the same one in a different way. What I have is his gift, and what I do with what I have is my gift to him. But he also said, what I have is prarabdha because of my past actions. I am an engineer, I am a scientist, I am this, I am that because of my prarabdha, because I went through those courses. But what I do with what I have is my purushartha now, what I do for the next. And the future prarabdha is past prarabdha modified by my present action. So one has to accept what we have and make best out of it, because that's a part of beauty of the creation itself. So everything as a part, beautifying the creation, you do it, and every action has to be there, whatever the action. Any action that you do has to do your part best, then it becomes beautiful. So including the job and the skills that you need to do. So prarabdha cannot be used as an excuse. Prarabdha is what you already has done, but what is now, what you can do with what you have. That's your purushartha. What can I do now for the skills that I don't have? Then can you get it? Can you acquire, go to special courses and acquire those skills? If you can't, then resign from that job and get another job which you can do, right? That's a part of your intelligent living also. With that, we stop. We'll take 10 minutes break and come back, and then we'll start the regular class. We'll do Purnamadana. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.